Fellow Vincentians, greetings. I wish to speak with you about the poor political and economic condition of our country and how we should address it. Recently, the ULP held their convention. Normally, I would not comment on it. However, I mention it now only because the ULP, for the time being, holds the reins of government, and therefore, their current predicament has serious implications for the running of our country. Rather than focusing on the issues that matter most to you, the people, unemployment, downturn in business, high costs of living, Gonsalves turned the convention into a monologue about himself, his personal ambitions, and his aborted succession plans. Notably, having spent years trying to prop up Saboto Caesar, it took Gonsalves one weekend to knock him down, as apparently being no longer fit to lead the ULP. Having spent years declaring that Caesar was a promising part of the ULP family, in whom he was well pleased, it became abundantly clear that there is only one family that matters to the ULP, the Gonsalves family. That is a crisis that their party and its long-suffering members will have to come to terms with. The display at the convention proved, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that the ULP is a house deeply divided, built not on democratic values and practices, but on the autocratic whims and fancies of one man, Ralph Gonsalves. For the rest of us in the country, it proved that the ULP are woefully unfit for office, as they have no plan, no program, no hope beyond clinging desperately to power. Gonsalves essentially threatened his followers in the ULP to submit to his rule, but it is clear where that will lead. He will destroy his party and sacrifice the best interests of our country to get his own way and secure his chosen successor, his son, as Prime Minister. While the leadership of the ULP is hopelessly divided and are caught up in their own confusion, we in the NDP are focused on the issues that matter most to you. We know them because we talk with you about them. My dear people, it is time for us to move on, to move forward as a country. No man is indispensable. Of necessity, and whether Gonsalves likes it or not, the baton of leadership must pass to new hands. If not, our country will fall further behind and our people will suffer. We must not let that happen. As leader of the NDP, I have offered myself to serve you. In the last general election, you honored me by making the NDP the party of choice for most of the people and me the popular choice as political leader. In the profoundest sense of democracy, where majority rules, you voted for the NDP and for change. But our political system has its shortcomings and at times gives a party the popular vote, yet not the government. Nevertheless, the writing is on the wall. Change is necessary and will come. It will come not because I say so, but because you, the people, have decided that the time for it has come. For, as one former ULP supporter recently said to me, one man can't run the country forever. I have been meeting people all over the country, in villages, in their homes, on the streets, and when invited, in their places of worship. Wherever I go, the message is the same. You tell me and my team that you want us to focus on the things that matter to you. Focus on your needs, your concerns, your jobs, your livelihoods, your future. In other words, focus on bread and butter issues because our present circumstances require it. Enough of the gutter politics and the corrosive rhetoric. While the insults, name-calling, and other disparaging remarks by Gonzalez may be entertainment for some, it has profoundly serious implications for our country. Most of our people are fed up of the selfishness, the arrogance, and bluster that pass for leadership in the ULP and the government. They sow the seeds of division and would set us against one another in our homes, brother against brother. In our workplaces, colleague, teacher against teacher. In social circles, friend against friend. In places of worship, elder against elder. But thankfully, as a people, we are better than that. And no, we must always be better than that. Our present situation and examples from around the world have shown us that political leaders who seek to divide the people, who seek to divide us deeply so that we may never recover, serve only themselves. The people are merely the means to an end, that being unfettered, everlasting political power to be used for their own ends. Shutting up opposing voices, demonizing the carriers of alternative views, whether in a political party or in society at large, can never be right. It cannot serve us in this time. So, we can't continue that way. Let us all agree on that. Our people, especially the young people, they get it. They understand that they cannot continue this way and are unhappy about the current situation. Our people are better informed than ever and demand more from political leaders. You know that gutter politics and narcissistic self-reverence in the political leader have not served our people well and have led our nation down a slippery slope to a place where democracy is threatened and our standard of living has diminished. If we, the inheritors of our beautiful country, don't stand up against it, the situation can only get worse. We have a duty, therefore, to inform ourselves, defend our democratic values, and work for progressive change. The surest way to improve our standard of living is to grow our economy and provide employment for our people. That is why we support efforts to revive the troubled Buckingham Bay Hotel project. However, despite extravagant promises from the government about jobs for us, it appears that foreign workers, mainly from the Dominican Republic, hold most of the jobs. So, what happened to Vincentians? We don't need jobs? We have a serious unemployment problem in this country. Does the government not know this? Instead of talking about who will succeed him, Prime Minister Gonzalez should address this situation and give the assurance that our people have priority for available jobs at the project. Further, too many people in the north of our country whose homes were damaged by the volcano still don't have a roof over their heads. Their homes have not been repaired, though the government got money to do it. It is long overdue. They must not be kept waiting any longer. Nemo and Braxa, please fix the people's homes and help the people who have suffered so much for so long to return to their normal lives. Let us forget about political partisanship. We are one people. Give help according to need. That is the only valid basis for distributing governmental resources. And what about our teachers, public servants, and police officers who were fired because of the government's misguided vaccine mandate? I have called for their reinstatement. Prime Minister Gonzalez recently announced that teachers would have to reapply to get their jobs back. So there is no guarantee of them getting their jobs back. The government may pick and choose who to rehire. Further, rehired workers would have to start over with no guarantee of getting their benefits and long service awards. To tell teachers that they must reapply for their jobs to get their jobs back is disrespectful to them, for they have served long and selflessly and will continue to devote their lives to helping our children. The punitive measures against unvaccinated teachers and healthcare workers must stop. All over the world, governments, businesses, and other organizations have rejected COVID-19 vaccine mandates and have earnestly begun the process of learning to live with the disease, which will be with us for a very long time, perhaps forever. The Gonzalez government mishandled the COVID crisis from the beginning, and they continue to do so. They are out of touch with the concerns of the people because they have been isolated in a bubble for far too long, shielded from the everyday concerns of the people. Note the recent embarrassing episode in which a memo from the Ministry of Health, signed by the permanent secretary, indicated that health workers would have to take a COVID-19 vaccine booster shot every 5 months, only for the minister to deny it the following day, saying that there was a transcription error and that no decision had been made or taken by the government. How could this be the result of a transcription error? Was the cabinet meeting conducted in French or another foreign language? Do you believe that explanation? I don't. This is more bungling by the government and a clear failure of governance in this important public health matter. The ULP's self-absorption and a failure of governance have real consequences for our people. The government has failed to address the most urgent and pressing issue facing the country now, today, the cost of living crisis. As cost of living increases, our standard of living falls. Life has become more difficult for families, many of whom are now foregoing essentials and cutting back in every way they can. It is a sad reality that those who have the least are hardest hit. Spending on necessities takes up a larger portion of their income. Increase in cost of living is not just a challenge for today, but for the future as well. Rising prices with stagnant wages undermine our standard of living. They force people to dip into savings, to postpone retirement if possible, to put off making big decisions like getting married, building a home, or mortgaging the family home to pay for a child's education. For some, it's more dire than that. Many are forced to lose their dignity and self-respect to survive. For our businesses, it hampers the ability to invest, inhibits hiring of new workers, and retards growth. The shocks of the COVID pandemic have been exacerbated by the Russian war in Ukraine. The impact on food and fuel prices, we know, have been felt worldwide. The global trends impact us in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as local prices soar. I do grocery shopping frequently in Kingstown. Some, my own errands, or when Mrs. Friday gives me her list for shopping. Purchasing from the vendors and from the supermarkets. So I see the increases firsthand. And I too have questioned the cashiers from time to time to check if the price of one item or another was not an error because it had increased so much. Over the past 8 months, the prices of food, fuel, and other goods have risen considerably. Current prices at a rural shop on the mainland show that a pound of chicken back has increased from $1.75 to $2.50. Leg quarts from $3 to $4. Turkey from $3.50 to $5. A small margarine from $4.95 to $6.50. 1 liter of cooking oil from $10.95 to $16. A bag of penny bread, penny loaf bread, from $2 to $3. The cost of electricity has risen a lot. The fuel surcharge was 28 cents per unit in March 2021. It was raised to 72 cents by July of this year. In a recent survey conducted by a local newspaper, nearly 82% of respondents said that the hikes in cooking oil, electricity, and food prices have caused them to cut back on basic food items, with many saying they are now paying $200 more for the same basket of goods bought before these increases. Gasoline at the pump is now at an all-time high, $18.16 per gallon. Obviously, the high gas prices make things harder for all motorists and puts pressure on minibus operators, taxi drivers, and fisherfolk who use fuel in their work daily. High cost of living is not some fleeting phenomenon that will pass in another month or two. It is expected to be with us for quite some time. So, the government has a duty to do everything it can to cushion the blows of rising costs on households and protect our communities. Further delay in taking relief measures will only cause more pain and suffering for Vincentians. Across the OECS and the wider Caribbean, governments have cut fuel taxes, reduced import charges, controlled the price of basic goods, increased direct supports to those most in need, and helped with utility bills. Wherever I go in the country, I hear the cry from ordinary people that they need help. Why is the government not helping me with the high cost of living? Do they even have a plan to deal with this problem? Do they even recognize it as a problem? Day after day, it becomes more difficult to make ends meet. I know of your struggle to pay light bills, to put food on the table, to buy shoes, clothes, books, to send your children back to school in September. A few days of road work might help a bit, but can't cover most of your bills. More relief is needed. We in the NDP have a plan to immediately help to ease the effects of rising costs of living and ensure that we protect families. We urge the following. Reduce VAT from 16% to 13% and ensure that the savings are passed on to ordinary consumers. This will help everyone across the board. Increase the number of zero-rated VAT items. This will reduce grocery bills for everyone. Immediately repeal the customs service charge increase that was done a couple of years ago to reduce the cost of imports. Increase support for low-income families by expanding existing support programs and ensure that the support is distributed based on need, not by political favor. Provide import duty concessions for the transportation industry, which is to say the minivans, buses, and taxis. And end the unlimited increase in VINLEC bills by putting a cap on the fuel surcharge and improve efficiency at VINLEC. These measures are practical and realistic and can deliver benefit to everyone immediately. Remember, government's revenue from VAT is boosted by the higher prices for goods and services. As prices go up, so does government's revenue from VAT. We must put people first, not government's revenues first. I said it early in the COVID crisis, that we must put the money where the pain is. That is in helping families who are being squeezed now by the increase in prices. We Vincentians have always known that we are stronger when we stand together, when we work together. We value community and look after one another. Everyone has a role to play in seeing us through this crisis. Government must look to do everything it can to reduce costs and support those who need help. Importers and retailers must continue to do everything they can to hold prices in the short term. And now more than ever, we need to ensure that cost reductions are passed on to consumers. With resolve and focused leadership, we can turn this challenge into a moment of opportunity that can be our springboard to a better tomorrow. But it requires political leadership. Leadership that focuses on real problems, not on made-up ones, and put our people's welfare at the top of the agenda. Put our people first. Anyone who does not see this is out of touch and out of time. Let us not be distracted. We must be laser-focused in dealing with the real and immediate problems confronting us. Making ends meet. Doing right by the teachers, public servants, and police officers who were fired because of the government's misguided vaccine mandate. Prioritizing our people for jobs from projects such as the Bokama Hotel redevelopment. Helping farmers and fisherfolk to become more productive and to be truly ready to benefit from initiatives in agriculture and the blue economy. My dear people, we can have a bright future in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I want our young people to be able to remain here and have a good life with employment, decent health care, safe communities, with optimism about our country's future. How we get there is a conversation truly worth having. So, we will talk again over the coming weeks as I continue to show how we intend to reach our goal of improving the political and economic condition in our country. I believe in our people. I believe in our country. And I know we can do better. Working together, we will meet the present challenges. And we will embark on a path to a bright future. Stay strong. And may God bless us all.